and welcome to the Benjamin Zulu Show. Now, today's conversation is drawn from one of the comments that we've had on the Benjamin Zulu page on Facebook. And we have Gadoni who says, the first guy who was my safe space gave me distance. Now I understand because I've grown so much. Nata, see my type. Nasijasema na my feelings. Like I was obsessed with him. Now I know I was obsessed with the feelings he made me feel. Safe, wanted, validated. It's now 7 months since he kind of vanished, and I don't regret it in any way. Mr. Man, wherever you are, thanks for not loving me the way I wanted you to. And this takes us to the conversation that we are having today, and that conversation is how to avoid falling in love with someone that you've rescued. Or even the other way, someone who's rescued you, like Adoni said.
And you know, she said, for not loving me the way I wanted to.
Yes.
And she could have added you, but helping me the way I needed to.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Some people need care, the good Samaritan to be washed and be watched over, and maybe to pay for another person to continue taking care of them. That's what the good Samaritan did. He continued this journey, but first he attended the guy who was bleeding, washed, placed on his vehicle or horse like today's, and then take him to hospitals. Tell them, just attend to him and I'll send you the bill. Just tell me what it is, I'll pay. People omit that part.
Okay, I've never looked at it that way. I have to admit. Okay, great.
That part, you need it as well. As you help, remember you were on a journey.
Yes.
Don't carry them to where you're going. This is their environment. Okay. Sometimes I wanted to treat my mom, make her happy. She really worked for us. So I started imagining, I was brainstorming with my sister. She told me, you see, our mothers are not treated the way we are treated. If you want to treat me today, you take me to, I don't know, to rivers or to a trip there, to a beach, I'm swimming there. That's how you treat my generation.
Yes.
She told me, if you want to treat our mom's generation, don't uproot them from the environment.
They will not go.
Imagine.
They will think of their goats, their cows, their shoulder. They will find a reason.
Imagine.
So treat them there.
So think that way when you want to help people. Remember their context. So the conclusion that day was enrich her life where she is.
Okay. That makes sense.
She was telling me, make sure she has float. For those women, having just some money is a lot of comfort. Just, you know, their clothes. Make sure they have some clothes that has respect. Although you take them clothes they don't wear because they're not going.
They're waiting for Charlie.
So you have to adjust to their culture, just improve their life as they are. At that time, I learned as long at that time that came up that sometimes you think too far, and cash money will do most of the things you're thinking.
Oh, okay.
Some of the things, we take her shopping, realize the other shopping is still here. You know, you're hipping them. She's giving them away because they're getting spoiled. And there's one thing she never has enough of. Give her some cash money, she can always buy these things. So I liked that even when is your loved one. You want to treat. Consider their lifestyle.
Yeah. That is true. That is
and then enrich it as it is without changing it too much. You know, one guy brought the mother here because like, you guys are not taking care of me, so brought him to Nairobi. And every day she was taking me back home. I miss my chicken.
Yes. Oh yes.
You know.
Yes.
So now let's talk about the people whom you come across and because of your big heart and are calling.
We're gonna call it that now. It's a calling, guys.
Let me Christianize it. To make it not feel bad to possess.
Okay.
So I'm naturally a helping. I feel for people in these situations, and I started that way myself. Many of us who felt the pinch of problems, we have a natural instinct to alleviate because we can relate. When we see a person in a situation we were in, we know how that feels.
Yeah.
And our nervous system registers the pain. You know, you can't look away when you've been there before. And you know it can swallow the person. Let me remind you something. For me, the problems that I relate with concern deprivation. Because I was born in deprivation, where money is not enough. Struggling for food is the norm. 1 meal a day, and you're lucky if you found it. You know that food aid they used to bring to school, that was a miracle.
Yes.
And that's one thing. When I sense a person has no food, it moves me by inside, because I know it.
Yeah.
I feel it. And one way to feed people without being too personal is to do what the Wazungu did. Feed them at school. That's one of the things I long to do. When you feed kids at school, you have achieved many things by one throw. It will not be sold if you monitor in terms of corrupt, but because sometimes you give families, they think of other needs they had, they sell to the neighboring family to use this money to.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Because another problem you don't factor with poverty is mismanagement. NGOs want to solicit for money, and they use the situation of the poor. So they usually overlook the responsibility of the poor about the situation to just magnify the situation to get donations. Because many of us have borrowed that way. But because I was an insider, I know it. And you can't fool me. I know it. You can't fool me by emphasizing the problem. I always come down to the person. After I help you this way, are you able to bring yourself up? Or you'll eat and remain there, and then you run out to continue wallowing there.
Yeah.
I always do a follow-up, a background check. I'm not the emotional appeal.
No. No.
And so, it's to say, if you're like me and problems that move you concern a situation you survived, be careful. You've heard of people drowned trying to save another who's drowning.
Yeah.
In one school, a tragedy where 3 siblings drowned, and they was first one was trying to save this one. The next one tried to save the other one. Yeah. They all drowned. What did they move with? Mercy. Instinct. Not assessment of my capacity to help.
Yeah.
Imagine in first aid, they say you should consider the weight of the person you're trying to rescue.
Yeah.
Try to assess a little bit. Your skill, even when you're lighter than a person, you can help them if you compensate by skill. You can swim with one hand maybe, and hold them with the other one maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know to manipulate the current, stay afloat and go with it until you can find a corner where you can. There's some skills there. If it's not moving water, if it's a pool, some ways you can just remain afloat as you call for another help. There are skills they teach there in first aid, but they said generally don't try to lift a person who's heavier than you.
Okay.
You will end up drowning yourself. And they say also, how much is the person still having energy to try to remain afloat? Because if they are not active, they are easier to save, paradoxically.
Yeah. The more they struggle, the more you can easily drown. Yeah.
And I found that very applicable to real life. There are people you try to lift, but the things, the weight that are holding them there are beyond your capacity. Now, as I grew, I did not have this large understanding, except mercy and trying to help and compassion, and knowing compassion is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to have human, to try to assist, to be humane.
Yes.
For many of us, we just know it and we stop there. That's very dangerous. That's very dangerous. What you have not been told is that you can die from being too good. You've heard that bad guys die because of stealing from people. They are shot, they are killed.
Yeah.
But you can also die for being too good. Good guy. Good girl. So this situation of you meet a person and they're so stuck, and then you help them, and then actually you manage to rescue them and move a certain distance and see how much change, and they start using the following language that I have warned you against. You are the only person who understands me. You see, for me, I'm talking about financial deprivation. I want you to think about the other situations.
Yes.
Many people were not deprived financially. Their parents had done something to give you enough to eat, to sleep, to pay fees. So you may not have had all the money in the world. I heard the Obama saying they never gave their children everything in the world. Actually, they made them wash their own clothes, do that. Well, you can have as many as 20 workers and it will be paid for, not you.
Yeah.
I respected Michelle for that. Look at that. You can get workers paid.
Yeah.
She said, no, this is for you guys.
You do it.
We cook together. There's a day it's us who are cooking. From dad to mom, there's a day it's us. We release the workers.
Yes.
Now, that's parenting. Now, that's mentorship. But what is happening here many times is you reach a person who says only you understands them. Only you, and you've heard what Kadhoni, the language she has used.
Yeah.
He became the one who could see me, validate me.
Yes.
To validate is confirm your existence, that you're a person, you're lovable, you're worthy. That, to make you valid. the ancient language for people who have some disabilities were called an invalid.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel emotionally invalid. So for you and for many people who did not suffer financial struggles so much because parents were working hard to shelter that, think of that other direction of life that touches you. And for most people, the other 90% is emotional. For most other people, the thing that you felt and which to this day moves you quickly is when people need self-esteem validated, is when they need to be assisted and understood and be patient and be helped. And for people who, and I want to tell you that the consequences of sickness and immaturity, sometimes they look the same. A person who has had struggles that are beyond their control. Now they can't control their temper, they can't be reliable, they cannot be consistent, they can't manage their money, they can't manage their time, they say hurtful words, their language is bad, they get depressed and they're dependent and weak and inconsistent and unreliable.
How do you do that? What? Okay.
So a person can have a collection of all those deficiencies.
Yes.
Because of an abusive background, because of a neglectful parent. Or they can have it simply because they have refused to grow up.
Okay.
And when you're a merciful person, you will not tell the difference. So because they talk badly, they annoy people go away. Person is too annoying. In class, people avoid them because they say things that destroy atmosphere.
Yep.
They rub everybody the wrong way. But here comes Mwikali, who actually understands. I know there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
Nobody is born like that.
I don't have you. I can be your friend. It's like, yeah.
And finally, he tells you you're the only person who stayed when people left.
Oh.
When language starts like that, that's how emotions come in. That's how people fall in.
You can always count on me. I will always be here for you.
You know the language. So, this person who has so much to grow, so much to heal, so much to journey and work. The reason people don't grow is because working is growing is work. Yeah. It's work. Yeah. Painful. Sometimes it's surgery. Not just sweat, pain. I was telling you of that mentorship group we had. That was a crucible. Things were said there I've never heard anywhere.
Oh God.
And would split boys and girls.
Yeah.
So, and be raw and real. Don't take it personal. If you take personal, don't come next week.
Oh, it's not just a one-day thing.
No, it ran for long.
Aye.
Ran for long. And those who have learned and polished their manners and grown up and learned to smile, you always, why don't you smile? You always look serious and angry. How do you think he's interested in? I've never had people be questioned about smiling. Yeah. That was the place I had. Yeah. The Bible says a fool shows their anger on the face. So why are you being a fool? So it was a language like that. Overeating. I've never had people being correct. That's why I learned it's wrong to eat a heap.
Yes.
The right amount is actually usually a feast.
And it's that age where now the gentlemen are eating proper.
Yes. And watch each other's portion. And do you know some things we picked from there? Today they look so ahead and advanced. Yeah. And they were just real.
Yes.
They were not trained abroad anywhere. And today I see people struggling with things I never struggled with. We went to a certain hotel and we were asking, because I saw people eating heaps. That time we were asked, if you got 5-star and you're this kind of people who eat 3 heaps of ugali to feel okay, how much will you spend on meal?
How much?
You know, this behavior is from the village, my friend, where food is somewhere from the pot. Out here, standard portions are sold at a standard price.
Yes.
So because they usually sell even rice is a portion, and you are used to heaps, you'll have to buy 5 portions. And so can you learn to fit in the world? Your body doesn't need all this. This is gluttony. This is a habit. It actually goes, the body only takes what it needs. Some of things, meet a person who is so unpolished. The way they eat is embarrassing. The way they talk is embarrassing.
Yeah.
They have no conscience of nicety. They can't talk nicely. A lady was saying, this guy speaks such foul things in front of people. I'm so embarrassed. I have to go and apologize on his behalf. I'll say, how did you end up together? So, because you can fall in love. A person can fall in love with you head over heels, because you are the first one to penetrate to their inner life. Yeah. You are the first one to make them feel anything after feeling nothing for years. Many people who are so abrasive and they attack before they are attacked is because of the pain inside, and instead of addressing it, they become defensive. I was telling people this the other day, that I think this morning I was telling them that one way to change how you view life is to remove strong negative language. Stop saying this situation is pathetic. My bosses are useless. My colleagues are intolerable. Remove strong negative language. It always releases things. Once you have said the word pathetic, it's very hard to say beautiful, the next word.
Yeah.
Even when you genuinely see something beautiful. Just because of the environment, that pathetic word left.
Yes. Everything is pathetic at this point. You miss it. You're so immersed in pathetic.
Once you have said horrible, it's very hard.
The whole day is horrible.
You know? So I was telling them, just change your lexicon, just change your language.
Okay.
Instead of saying, even if your workplace is actually bad, you can say, my workplace is quite challenging. I'm trying to get alternatives. You have communicated the same thing. You know? And you have not brought that bad smell, bad atmosphere.
Yeah.
After you have said, my workplace is quite challenging. After you see something beautiful, it will be easy to see the beauty, to feel the beauty. Wow, that's pretty.
Yes.
It's very hard to come from so horrible. Oh, pretty.
I will see.
And it's not the facts changing, it's how you're describing them.
Yes.
So, you can find a person whose language is that foul, whose way of manner of talk. But because of the way you have endured and you still show up at their room, I did not see you, are you okay? I brought some coffee here. And you are not thinking love. Hey, it's concern and care.
Yeah.
They fall in love. And you, when you are unaware, you may think because of the way I've helped them, they'll be loyal for life. Undying loyalty.
I've been there for you.
Yeah. Nobody,
My world stopped
they
because...
tell you, I am you. You are their world.
Yeah.
So those relationships have actually evolved in movies and in real life. This is one thing that they have played in both places.
Yeah.
The other one is in movies only. Where a prince falls in love with.
It happened in real life.
This one now, in real life, you can find a person who helped, understood, assisted, showed care, concern, listened. And as I told you, for many people, we have had cases where 15 years old are killing themselves.
Yeah.
Depression, stress of life, emotional despondency is going to children. And they're finding lethal weapons and using them. And they're ending their lives. Society is confused. If a teenager can kill themselves, where are we? Where did they find enough stress to kill themselves when they're so young? They have not yet even begun to face life on their own. These are still under their parents. What kind of stress was it? There are many people who what they're struggling with is not financial. As you can hear some people killing themselves, their parents are prominent in society.
Yeah.
So it's not lack of money, food, shelter, school fees. It is something emotional, something mental, and our emotional needs can be very crushing, even when we are doing well elsewhere. So the thing here is to say, once you realize a person has do what that guy did, how this Gadoni girl is saying, He was my world. I was obsessed. I felt like he understood me, lifted me. Be wise and create distance so that you direct her growth, her recovery towards moving on with life, not coming to you. That is a shift. And if you don't make that shift, there are only 3 rules. And the first one is basic. Don't help them for you, for a relationship, to sprout something. Don't cultivate and don't encourage romantic language even. It is very easy for a person because you are the only person who made them feel this way. They've never felt this and they can't imagine. You know better. They don't. You know better. And this can be a 35-year-old. This can be 40-year-old.
Yes.
There are people who have lived in cocoons and pain. In fact, many people come from rebounds, coming from pain, and they're looking for consolation. The first person who consoles them, they want to stay there.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They lose themselves. If you're not careful, the person you helped is so vulnerable to you, so open to you. If you're not careful, you who knows better, it can dig down there. The second problem is you are not in the same place emotionally with this person. You are never in the same place. And if it is because of lack of money, think of financially. You're not in the same place financially.
Yeah.
Whatever problem kept them down and you have lifted them, coming from the pit is one thing. Traveling the journey to who they are is another. You have lifted them from the pit, they have not traveled. You have been traveling for long.
Yeah.
That's why you are aware enough to come and help people.
Yeah.
They have a journey to go. And even if you try to institute something here, the following problems will follow. You will realize the relationship was one-sided. Yes, they appreciated your help, but you're the one to pour into them, giving to them, hold them up, support them, listen to them, be patient, forgive, overlook. What can they give you? Nothing. They're still bleeding, still weak. So this will be a one-sided, and if you establish a relationship there, I've dealt with those relationships. They're very hard to deal with because the person who would rescued has also fallen in love, and they think they can make it work because anyway they brought this person up. Yes. It's their project.
Oh,
they've never lost anything. You see, there are people who are so achievement driven.
Yes.
A relationship failing feels very bad because I've never failed at anything. At school, they got straight grades. At work, they get high flying grades. In this relationship, they have mentored people. Even this one, I know people improve, and I know with concentration. Why can't she concentrate? I've lived. So I realized the guy was not struggling with this relationship. He was struggling with his concept of being an achiever never fails. With enough persistence and patience and effort, this thing can work. And I know.
Oh my God.
Do you see the trick?
I do.
He's an achiever.
It's a project.
You know? So the relationship failing is personal failure to him. He has not separated that this is all other places you are working with a job, the machine, the targets, those are impersonal things. They do not have their free will. This is a person who has their free will. They also have a choice. Relationship require 2 people.
Yes.
The failure of a relationship is not always my failure. It can be the other guy just lacks the capacity or the will. So people are not willing. So to teach him that this girl needs a lot of babysitting and milk to ever get where you are, to ever be able, it was very difficult because he has seen her improve. While she was improving, she was becoming better for herself, not for you. Let her take her journey. Do what that gentleman did with the lady who gave us her story.
Yeah.
He stepped back to let you see the world. Usually after you step back, people will see the world.
Yeah.
Many of them would threaten that if you leave me, I will have no reason to live. I'll just die. Their life has no meaning without you.
You're the reason why I'm alive today.
You pulled me from the trenches.
Yeah.
I would rather.
So why would you leave me here?
And they send you suicide notes, which are very emotional.
Yes. Yes.
You know those words that are almost goodbye? It's not direct, but in case the world doesn't hear from me, just know I loved you.
Yeah.
You're very manipulative. Very manipulative. So if you try to stay there, you come to realize this was tilted in their favor. The frustration that they can't come up to you also to hold you up, hold space for you, comfort you, listen to you, advise you, think with you. The frustration will be double. It will feel like you're being shortchanged. And that's the complaint. I always do this for me, you never do anything for me. And I always shut them up. Wait, does he have the capacity to do it?
And we know very well.
He's not on your level. This is a guy you cleaned up, supported, propped up. Now
he can't fill you up.
Now he's walking with staccato because it's the first time to stand on his feet.
Yes.
He's learning the pace. You're a Maradona. Marry another Maradona. Let people journey. That's the last problem with these relationships. And want you to be very careful that you are also a limited resource.
Okay. let that sit in nicely.
That problem comes when we forget that we are not all that. We don't have all that time. Yeah. Don't have all that emotional resources. Don't have all that energy. I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
Many of these relationships drag on 5, 10 years, 15, 20.
Still rescuing.
Yes. Trying, proving. And you see people writing online as if it's an interesting story. This woman has been giving me terrible headache for the last 18 years. This guy has never supported me in anything for the last 12 years of our marriage. I always ask them, do you have eternity? Why are you donating 12 years?
Zulu, your answers and questions, my God.
No,
yeah, but it's the truth.
You're donating 12 when you have how much total?
Tomorrow is not even promised. Tomorrow isn't promised.
I want you to always remember your years of energy. Keep them in mind.
Okay.
They will inject you with some economical kind of thinking. Once you remember, probably when I'm optimistic, my years of energy could be 70.
Yes.
So now minus, if I'm 30, that's okay. Now, if I waste 20 with, oh my God.
You know, people will listen to you do that math and they'll think you're crazy. But you're not. You're being a realist.
So they'll tell you, no, Mikali, this guy actually with some support, if you just take him to school, if you give him a number, I'm sure if this, when I look, with time, you know, people actually grow. I said, how, just ask them, give me an approximate number of years before you can come to this level. I mean, I know a guy within 10 years, so 10. And if I'm that, learn to do practical mathematics. Please. People will encourage you to pick a project of a person. also do management. Take money. The other day I said sometimes we make bad decisions in relationships because we don't understand principles of management.
Okay.
In management, you are portioning resources, and those resources are human resource, money, and time. How much time do we have? Who has the skills to do it? How much money do we have allocated for it? Always think in that terms. It will bring some things to clarity. So, when you say about being practical to calculate, we're not saying tamp down your emotions, don't be empathetic, don't listen to people, we are saying, how much do I have? How much time? And how much time does this person need?
Yeah.
Let's remember that priorities vary in life, seasons vary in life. You can have a person whom you both love each other genuinely, but you're not in the same seasons, and they don't have the understanding to know what it takes to give you what you need. You have the understanding to know, to suspect at least. Yeah. I may love this person so much. Yeah. Love is foggy, emotions are foggy. Sometimes they cloud your thinking, but you can get a hunch, a suspicion. I think this person might need another journey.
Yeah.
Do the Samaritan.
I like that. I really like it. Yes.
And you still invest to help as much as you can. You can get. There are people whom you helped a while ago, and you still call back to check. So have you finished school? How are you guys doing? Oh, I've bought you some lunch there. You still send help as you go on with your life.
Yes. Yes.
So you're not discarding them, you're just acknowledging that our paths crossed strategically, perhaps for me to prop you back on your feet, assist you to resume your journey, but I don't have to force our paths to face the same direction.
Yeah.
Let me remind you that sometimes even when you're not the one who made things go wrong, it's upon you to correct them. You pity people who parents raised them badly, neglected them, did not educate them. And you feel bad, you feel angry on their behalf of the parents. As much as you pity, understand, feel angry for me on my behalf, I was abandoned. Remember, the abandonment affected my development, and I need time to compensate.
Yes.
So don't say, me, I not judge this guy. I understand where he's coming from. It is not his fault. He was just neglected, not paid fees for. So for me, I want to help him compensate as we grow together. Let me tell you.
Yes.
You may feel bad that how my parents left me to raise myself. But after you finish the empathy exercise,
Yes.
Come down and do calculation.
Okay.
Where am I because of all that? Where am I? Because of all that, where are you? Sometimes you have to do what Ruth, Orpah, and Naomi did. They cried, and then they parted ways.
Yes.
Cried and said goodbye. Sometimes you actually need to cry for what could have been if it were not for ABCD. The love that could have happened. You know? And I've assisted a lot of people myself through mentorship, and you help them come alive.
Yeah.
You know? And you journey with them and you see them wake up and believe life again, gain energy. So they want to linger on with you.
Ah, okay.
They want to stay on with you. So you do the Naomi, Ruth, Orpah exercise.
Yes.
Of a painful goodbye.
Yeah.
I remember I used to recite poems. Some of the poems I was writing were, don't sit at the grave of our friendship and mourn. Please, don't overstay there. Move on. Time.
Yeah.
So even you think of time. What it will take you, where you need to be, by when. That's why I told you to always date with the timelines. Dating is a project like any other. Give it 2 years. Mine, I gave it 2 years. If you do it right, again, you not need to do it long, because it is demanding. Let me remind you, you need to date within definite time, because the energy required and the disappointments, the hopes, the rising and falling are not sustainable over long term.
Okay.
Always give it time and do it within a schedule. Yes.
You know, I'm just going through the comments on this conversation, and there's one gentleman who says, when I hear men complaining how they educate their girlfriends and after graduating they vanish in thin air, I always hear at the back of my head Mr. Zulu laughing sarcastically, because that only becomes a needy case. Nothing like a marriage can come from that.
Exactly.
And one more, Lucy says, I have made this mistake twice and it tore me into pieces. After learning my lesson, I stepped away from dating. It's been 5 years of singleness, the best years of my life, years of healing, years of learning to run to God than man, years of rediscovering myself. Have they been easy? Heck no. But they have been worth it. So as we sum this up, you conclude this by saying the solution is to structure your help in such a way that you're helping the person to get back on their feet and carry on with their life, not for purposes of starting something together. And if you didn't get anything from today's conversation, end of Some, go read about the Good Samaritan and do what he did. Help and continue with your journey. Adios.